The Billionaire'S Paralyzed daughter's party was a disaster until this poor woman showed up. The gala was a glittering tragedy, the kind of disaster that people whispered about for weeks. The glistening chandeliers tried to shine, but they felt dim in comparison to the shadows that engulfed the room. Laughter bubbled like champagne, but it was an eerie sound, cracking beneath the pressure of forced smiles. Everyone knew why they were there, to pay tribute to the tycoon's daughter, Clara, who hadn't been able to walk since the tragic accident that changed everything. Her pristine white wheelchair sat at the center of it all, an uninvited guest among the laughing, dancing elites. The first strange thing happened when the powerful met the utterly unforeseen. A strange woman, dressed in second-hand clothes that clung to her like a second skin, unexpectedly arrived at the door. Her hair was wild, spilling around her shoulders like a dark waterfall, and her eyes blazed with a fire that felt completely out of place. People paused mid-sentence, whispers racing like the wind. Who was she? What was she doing here? The orchestra momentarily fell silent, anticipating something electrifying, out of the ordinary. A chill cut through the warm ambience as the woman approached Clara's table. The murmur intensified, breaths held as if ready to explode. One guest gasped, as their gaze darted between the wealthy and the ragged. What a disaster, someone muttered, but the girl's presence felt like a storm brewing. Could she really change the mood? Or was she a mistake waiting to unfold in front of a crowd hungry for gossip? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The tension crackled like static electricity as the music swelled again, but it was different now. A sickly sweet scent filled the air, choking laughter and hope, shrinking the space around them. The crowd clustered closer, straining to grasp what would come next. Then, just an inch away from Clara, the woman took a deep breath, her hands trembling, visibly shaking. What was this stranger going to do? Would she ruin what little joy remained in that hollow celebration, or could she, against all odds, spark life back into that dim evening? The hushed whispers turned into a collective gasp, and the mood shifted once more, the crowd on the edge, a single moment away from either crushing disappointment or electrifying surprise. As the inevitable moment approached, an unexpected spark of tension lingered, hinting at something incredible looming just beneath the surface. What could possibly happen next? As the silence thickened around them, the strange woman leaned forward, a flicker of determination igniting her wild eyes. She reached out, her hand shaking but resolute, palm hovering just above Clara's. The crowd collectively inhaled, their anticipation almost suffocating. One could hear the sharp sound of wine glasses clinking, momentarily forgotten in the chaos of humanity's immediate curiosity. Clara? The woman whispered, her voice raw and quivering. A ripple of shock swept through the ballroom. The name carried a weight, a tangible connection that penetrated the sophisticated atmosphere. The tension twisted tighter, emotions contorting across every face. Clara's gaze snapped from the tableware, the fancy china and gleaming forks, to the woman whose vibrant spirit seemed almost too wild for the stuffy environment. Who was this intruder, trembling with desire to bridge the gap of understanding they had all seemed to forget? Clara's eyes narrowed, confusion masking the underlying curiosity. Do I know you? She finally managed, her voice soft, strained. The sound dripped with the sweetness of vulnerability and disbelief. No, the woman admitted, her voice now steady, filling the void with unwavering honesty. But I know your story, Clara. I've followed it since the accident. The revelation struck like a lightning bolt. Gasps erupted from the crowd, murmurs vibrated against the crisp, delicate linen that covered the elegant tables. Suddenly, the absurdity of standing there, under the dressed chandeliers, sidled with the weight of emotion unraveling in waves. Clara's heart raced. She felt trapped between pity and fascination, curiosity clawing at her chest. "Why are you here?" Clara questioned, her tone rising above the hushed crowd. "I came to tell you," the woman replied, stepping closer, her face now illuminated under the glint of the chandelier. "There's a chance you may walk again." The crowd gasped anew, a cacophony of whispers spiraling. "A specialist, someone who enough." Clara interjected, her voice sharp, cutting into the flow like a knife. The sudden flaring anger silenced the room, all eyes flickering back to the esteemed heiress in her dazzling gown. But inside, confusion simmered. She had heard it before, a fading echo of hollow promises from self-identified experts, but the wild-haired woman had something different in her eyes. An urgency, a belief that felt contagious. Clara felt a knot tightening in her stomach, emotions churned. What if? An intoxicating rush surged through her veins, igniting memories of standing, dancing, and running freedom she thought she had lost forever. "What do you know about me?" Clara asked, her voice softening, curiosity overtaking defensiveness. "I know a lot," the woman said, taking a breath. "I know you used to dance. I know you were happy, before. But I also know that they've spent so much on treating your condition like it was hopeless. It's not." With each word, the silence of the room expanded, stretching into something electric. Hope and fear danced a chaotic tango. Clara's heart pounded as she wrestled with the possibility flickering in front of her. Why did this woman care? She was nobody, yet she carried the weight of revelation. The hostile glances of the socialites turned to open curiosity. The narrative had shifted, the crowd was no longer just observing, but invested. "Why should I believe you?" Clara pressed, the room hanging on her every syllable. The woman opened her mouth as if to answer, but a loud crash interrupted the moment. The clattering of plates, someone had toppled a table, and the reverberation of chaos washed over the stunned crowd. Panic, disbelief, and curiosity mingled as they turned to see the commotion. Amongst the distraction, Clara's eyes met the woman's once more, a silent plea exchanged between them. The stakes had changed, and amid the confusion, something monumental was proving itself. What if this was just the beginning? As the din echoed through the room, Clara felt her future teeter on the edge. Could the woman's wild presence be the key to unlocking everything she had lost? The question spun in her mind as the ballroom shook with energy, revealing deeper mysteries yet to unravel what lay beneath the surface of this chaotic evening. Chaos erupted as the table crumpled under the weight of wine and porcelain, a symphony of gasps spiraling outwards. The socialites recoiled, their poised smiles drained away, morphing into open-mouthed shock. Amid the discord, Clara felt every gaze burning into her, a hot spotlight on her tangled emotions. "Martha!" A voice rang out, slicing through the noise. Clara recognized it as her father's. His booming authority tried to weave control back into the chaos, but it faltered like shipwrecked debris on stormy seas. "Damn it, what is going on?" That was her mother, her tone laced with panic, scrambling toward the wrecked table. Clara's heart quickened. She didn't want them to see her helplessness, the fragility that had so often defined her life since the accident. The woman, however, remained a stark presence among the fluttering manicured hands and stuttering conversation. She held her ground, unyielding, and an almost fervent glow bathed her face in the aftermath. Clara could sense the urgency lingering in the air, thick and unreal. "Clara, we need to move," the woman urged, her voice a fierce whisper. "This isn't over. It's just beginning." "What do you mean?" Clara asked, urgency knitting her brows together. Her chest constricted, part fear, part adrenaline. "Come with me," the woman insisted, inching closer. The space between them felt electric, humming with life, with possibility. "We need to talk about your future. It's not just about walking again, it's more profound than you realize." "Wait, what do you?" Clara's protest was lost within the surrounding din, her rational mind battling against the sensation swarming inside her. Her instincts screamed to trust this stranger's words. "Martha." Her father's voice thundered again, drawing closer, worry bleeding into the authority he usually wielded effortlessly. The woman leaned in, her eyes locking on Clara's with an intensity that made her breath catch. "You have to choose, Clara. Before they take this moment away." Before Clara could respond, a throng of gossiping socialites surged forward, blocking her view of the woman. Almost instinctively, she reached out, but her fingers grazed nothing but air. The moment shattered, and the woman slipped into the shadows of the bustling ballroom. Dread surged through Clara like a rush of icy water. She was slipping again back into the abyss of uncertainty, helplessness. "Clara, are you all right?" Her mother's voice broke through, torn between genuine concern and managerial undertones. Clara couldn't grasp what was happening. The woman's presence had ignited something deep within her, a spark that felt foreign yet incredibly vital. I think so," Clara exclaimed with more bravado than she felt. As her mother fussed and her father huddled with a security team, the ballroom buzzed with fragmented conversations about the chaos, yet all Clara could think was how fleeting was that grasp, how maddeningly close she had danced with hope, and how it had evaporated like mist under the sun. What was she supposed to do now? A flicker in her peripheral vision caught her attention, a figure slipped through the crowd. The wild-haired woman moved with determination toward an exit, her silhouette a beacon against the sparkle of the ballroom's glimmering lights. Sensing a strange pull, Clara broke free from her parents' feeble attempts at comfort and sprinted toward the door. Would she follow this mysterious woman? The weight of the evening hung heavy. Uncertainty wrapped her in its embrace, tangible and stifling. But under it all, a whisper of bravery fluttered in her chest. Clara burst through the crowd, her heart racing with possibilities. Could this woman lead her to something more than just promises? Suddenly, the thrumming doors swung shut behind her, as if sealing her fate. As she rushed to catch a glimpse of the figure ahead, the question clung to her throat: what awaited her on the other side of that threshold? Clara's lungs burned as she rushed through the heavy doors, desperation pushing her forward. The ballroom's clamor faded behind her, swallowed by the night. Outside, the brisk air struck her like a slap, awakening nerves that had been dormant for too long. She scanned the dimly lit pavement, searching for the mysterious woman. Where did she go? Clara muttered to herself, straining to catch even a flicker of that wild hair. Around her, a stark silence enveloped the gardens leading away from the extravagant venue. Shadows loomed tall, the trees whispering secrets she wasn't prepared to hear. The only sound was the distant hum of party chatter mixed with the residual chaos she had left behind. Adrenaline coursed through her veins, she felt alive, electric. Then, she spotted a figure moving swiftly toward the edge of the estate. Inches away from the shadows, the woman paused, the moonlight casting an ethereal glow upon her features. Clara's heart fluttered as she saw the fierce determination in her eyes once more. "Wait!" Clara called, not caring if she sounded desperate. The woman turned, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "Good, you followed." Her voice was calm, steady, a stark contrast to the confusion swirling inside Clara. "Who are you?" Clara gasped, holding back the urge to demand answers. "What do you want from me?" "I'm here to help you," she said, taking a step forward. "But first, I need you to trust me. There's a lot you don't know." Clara's brow furrowed. Did she really want to take this leap? Everything felt so wrong, and yet something about this woman pulled her toward her. "Why would you care about helping me?" Clara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Because you're not just anyone," the woman replied, her intensity sharp. "You have a gift buried beneath the surface. A gift that can change your life and perhaps lives around you." "A gift?" Clara repeated, incredulity mixing with curiosity. "What are you talking about?" Before answering, the woman glanced over her shoulder, her expression suddenly serious. "We don't have much time. They'll come looking for you. Follow me." Without waiting for Clara's response, the woman turned and darted into a narrow alleyway, blending into the shadows. There was a moment where fear ticked in Clara's heart like a metronome. Could she really trust this stranger? Would it be safer to return to the party, into the arms of her bewildered parents? The decision weighed heavily, but then Clara thought of the hope blossoming inside her from that fleeting moment in the ballroom. She had chased that feeling all her life, running toward it, only to have it slip away again and again. Clara stepped forward, heart pounding, and followed. The alley was darker than she anticipated, and the cold brick walls seemed to close in around her. She navigated carefully, her senses on high alert. Where are we going? To a place where answers await, the woman said without looking back. But you have to promise me one thing: no matter what happens, you remain open. It's time to unearth what you've buried deep within yourself. What are you talking about? Clara's voice quavered, and her instinct screamed at her to turn back. But ahead, the woman paused, clutching a small object in her hand. She turned, meeting Clara's gaze, and Clara felt the weight of the world hang between them. Ready to discover the truth? The question hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Clara found herself caught in the moment, the doorway to a new reality within arm's reach. But beneath the exhilaration was a gnawing doubt that clawed at her mind. What truth awaited her? And could she really bear it? With a deep breath, she took another step, ready to confront whatever lay beyond the corner of that narrow street. The moment felt pregnant with potential, yet fear crackled around her like static electricity. Little did she know that her decision would ignite a series of events that would change her life forever. Just remember, Clara, the woman murmured as they edged closer, sometimes, the only way out is through. At that moment, a flash of light erupted from the alley, illuminating their faces and startling Clara, her heart racing in tandem with a new tension, a feeling she couldn't quite shake. What was happening? And why did the air suddenly feel charged, like a storm was brewing just out of sight? The flash of light burst like a firecracker, illuminating the narrow alley and revealing the woman's face in stark detail. Her eyes widened, reflecting both shock and urgency, while Clara felt the ground shift beneath her. The moment held its breath, the still night broken only by the pounding of her heart. What was that? Clara's voice trembled, too loud in the otherwise silent world around them. Panic clawed at her throat. Stay close. The woman ordered, her calm demeanor slipping slightly. She grabbed Clara's wrist and pulled her deeper into the shadows, weaving past abandoned crates and flickering neon signs. Clara stumbled but kept pace, her senses on fire. The alley opened into a bustling street, full of life and buzzing conversations, but it felt as if they had crossed into another realm. Clara's eyes darted around, searching for signs of whatever had caused the flash. Was it someone looking for her? A part of her wanted to bolt back into the normalcy of the party, but a stronger force, the magnetic pull of the unknown, kept her rooted at the woman's side. This way, the stranger urged, leading Clara through the crowd. They ducked behind a corner, where the sounds of revelry faded, replaced by the more hushed tones of whispers. We're safe here, for now. Clara hesitated, glancing back at the noise of the party. What is going on? Why do I need to be safe? Because they know you're here, the woman replied, her voice low but steady. They've been watching you, Clara. You don't realize how vulnerable you are. Watching me? The word sent a chill down Clara's spine. Why? Who are they? They're the ones who would exploit your gift, the woman explained, her eyes locking onto Clara's, earnest and unwavering. They want to keep it secret from you to use it for their purpose. What gift? Clara challenged, a mix of fear and frustration brewing inside her. What are you even talking about? The woman took a breath, her expression shifting to something softer, yet still intense. You can sense things, Clara. Things that others can't. You might not have tapped into it fully yet, but it's there. And it's powerful. A jolt of recognition shot through Clara, memories flooding back, dreams she couldn't quite place, whispers in her ear at night that felt more than mere figments of imagination. You mean like intuition? No, it's much more than that. You felt it before, haven't you? The woman's voice was urgent, coaxing. Times when you knew something was wrong or sensed danger before it happened. You've dismissed it as something trivial, but you can dig deeper. Clara shook her head in confusion. I don't understand. Why now? Just then, a low rumble echoed in the distance. A dark SUV screeched to a halt at the curb, its headlights flooding the area, illuminating faces standing close by. Clara froze, recognizing one Michael, the billionaire's son, the one she tried to avoid at the party. The woman turned to Clara, a fierce determination in her eyes. We need to move. Now. They darted down another alleyway as Clara's mind raced. Michael was a part of this? What had she stumbled into? Who are you? Clara gasped, realizing she had never asked the most basic question. What is your name? The woman turned and for the first time, Clara noticed the fear flickering behind her determination. Lara, she said, urgency still heavy in her tone. And trust me, I'm the only thing standing between you and something much darker. As they slipped into a quieter street, Clara felt the shadows stretch around them, closing in. The culmination of the party's chaos, Michael's presence, and the mysteries surrounding Lara loomed large before her. What awaited her down this uncertain path? Clara, just remember, Lara said as they paused in a secluded corner, everything is connected. You can help us stop them. But you have to be willing to embrace who you truly are. Clara felt the weight of her decision tightening around her like a vice. Could she really take this leap into the unknown? The choice is yours, Lara continued, her voice firm. But whatever you decide, just know there's no going back. A tremor ran through Clara. Every nerve in her body was alive with anticipation. What were the true implications of her gift? Was it as powerful as Lara claimed? And with that thought, a chilling realization dawned on her. Michael was closer than she imagined, and whatever he was after might shatter everything Clara thought she knew. Lara, what if they find us? Clara pressed, her heart racing anew. Lara's gaze sharpened. Then you'll have to decide what kind of strength you truly possess. The uncertainty weighed heavily. Clara was about to discover whether she was merely a pawn in a game of power or the key to unraveling a truth meant to break free, but echoes of footsteps in the alley brought an unmistakable tension, and Clara realized how thin the line between danger and salvation truly was. What would she choose when everything unraveled? Could she fight back? Clara's breath quickened as shadows stretched across the narrow street, their edges blurring into the unknown. It was a dark playground for secrets, each corner a loom weaving a story she had yet to fully grasp. But the footsteps grew louder, echoing her rising panic. What do we do? Clara whispered, her voice barely above a breath. Lara cast a quick glance back down the alley, her brow furrowing. We need to keep moving. They won't take long to figure out we're not in the party anymore. I can't just run. Clara protested, the weight of her thoughts colliding with the urgency of the moment. What is this all about? And why does Michael want me? He wants to control you, Lara said, tugging Clara forward. That's why he'll stop at nothing to find you. You mean more to them than you can understand right now. Clara's mind raced, trying to connect the dots. Why her? She wasn't special, just an ordinary girl caught in an extraordinary mess. The memory of Michael's smirk flashed before her eyes, a soldier's gaze hidden beneath a silk suit. He was not just a pretty face, he carried a darkness she was only beginning to glimpse. Focus! Lara snapped, breaking Clara's reverie. They're getting closer. She glanced back, her heart drumming in her chest, then pulled Clara into another alley just as a group of figures moved past. They were dressed in dark clothing, their intent palpable in the air. Clara shuddered, adrenaline tearing through her. Your gift, Lara pressed, pulling Clara deeper into the shadows. You can feel it, can't you? The energy in the air, the tension. Clara nodded, confusion still swirling in her mind. But I can't control it. I've never known how. You have to believe you can. We don't have the luxury of time. They're hunting for you like prey. Just then, the low hum of conversation broke the stillness, and they turned a sharp right, ducking into another side street. The neon lights flickered with an eerie glow, illuminating the cracks in the pavement like glimpses of her fractured understanding of the world. Still holding Clara's wrist, Lara pushed forward, maintaining a frantic pace. Remember that night at the party? You felt the unease. That wasn't just your imagination. I thought it was just the crowd, Clara admitted, a knot forming in her stomach. No. It was a warning. That's your gift manifesting. You're not just intuitive, you've got something deeper, a connection to the unseen threads of this world. Despite how much she wanted to deny it, Clara felt the stirrings of something within her, an awareness that danced just outside her reach. It was terrifying and inviting all at once. The realization teetered precariously on the edge of her understanding. Wait, Clara said abruptly, halting. What if I can feel them coming? What if I can sense them? Lara nodded, urgency igniting her eyes. Yes. Trust that feeling. When you do, you can use it to outsmart them. Just as Clara thought she could breathe, a sudden roar of an engine shattered the night silence. The SUV, the one she had seen earlier, revved to life, the headlights cutting through the darkness like knives. Run! Lara commanded, her grip tightening on Clara's hand as they sprinted toward the end of the alley. Clara's heart thudded deafeningly in her chest as they burst into a larger expanse filled with noise. An open plaza. People danced obliviously, their joy stark against the threat that lurked just behind them. Clara glanced over her shoulder and saw Michael emerging from the SUV, flanked by two men with expressions carved from stone. He was searching, scanning, and it made her bones chill. What do we do? Clara shouted above the pounding bass music. Lara took a deep breath, her face tightening with determination. We find a way to turn the tables. We can't let them think they have the upper hand. You need to trust me and trust yourself. But as Clara opened her mouth to respond, a figure stepped out of the crowd. It was familiar yet cloaked in a haze of confusion. Michael's face contorted with something that sent ice coursing through her veins. He caught sight of them, and the corners of his lips curled into a predator's smile. Clara! He yelled, voice dripping with mockery. Nowhere to hide, huh? Lara's hand fell away from Clara's wrist, her body tense. Stay close, and remember what I said about your gift. Clara's heart leaped into her throat. Was she truly capable of something greater than this? Or would fear shatter any chance she had at saving herself? As Michael closed the distance, everything within her screamed to run, to hide. But something deeper, a quickening in her veins, nudged her to stand her ground. The question echoed in her mind: would she confront her fears or let them consume her? Michael's smirk widened as he neared, anticipation crackling in the air. Clara felt the darkness closing in, and she realized the path ahead wasn't just about survival. It was the beginning of a fight she never asked for. Did she have what it took to unearth the truth, or would this night swallow her whole? Clara's heart raced, and she could almost hear the rhythm of the music matching the frantic beat of her pulse. The thrumming bass drowned out her thoughts as she tried to keep her focus on Lara, who was practically a shadow beside her. Move! Lara hissed, pulling Clara deeper into the crowd. People swirled around them, blissfully unaware of the danger lurking behind the bright lights and laughter. Clara! Michael's voice boomed again, cutting through the noise like a knife. She could feel his gaze, sharp and searching, probing beneath the laughter and chaos. The crowd acted like a shield, but she didn't trust it to last long. Where do we go? Clara gasped, scanning the area as panic threatened to seize her limbs. There. The entrance. Lara pointed to a dimly lit exit at the opposite side of the plaza. It was their only chance. Her breath hitched as she saw Michael commanding his men to spread out, dark figures outlined against the glow of neon. Stick with me! Lara shouted, her voice laced with urgency. They weaved through dancing bodies, tension crackling in the atmosphere like static electricity. Clara began to sense the pulse around them, the anxiety of strangers brushing against her consciousness. It was intoxicating and terrifying all at once. "Trust it, Clara," Lara urged, noticing her moment of hesitation. "You can feel them. Use it." Clara glanced back. Michael's eyes were piercing through the gap of writhing bodies, dark and relentless. "Lara," she croaked, fear bubbling in her throat. "What if don't think? Just move." The words jolted Clara back to action, and they lunged towards the exit, nearly colliding with a group of partygoers. Clara pushed through, heart pounding in her ears, adrenaline weaving through her veins. She felt alive, and yet, so close to being consumed by the dark that pursued her. As they neared the door, a sudden chill enveloped Clara. The sensation reached deep inside her, an overwhelming sense of something dark creeping closer. She could feel it like a heavy fog settling on her shoulders. She faltered, instinct screaming for her to stop. "Clara! Go!" Lara cried, turning back to clarify their escape route. Just then, Michael stepped into their line of sight. He was closer now, the smile on his face a predatory mask that sent waves of nausea spiraling through Clara. "Did you really think you could slip away from me?" He taunted, amused but intimidating. Desperation clawed at Clara. She could sense Lara's fear beside her, a trembling that mirrored her own. "What do we do?" she whispered, casting frantic glances around for an escape. In that moment, she felt it again, the energy around her shifting, pulsing stronger, and she realized it was tied to her emotions. Just like the night of the party, it was more than just fear, it was a connection to something primal. An instinct. "Clara." Lara's voice broke through her thoughts. "Focus. What do you feel?" I don't know." "Trust yourself." Michael was closing in, surrounded by his men, but Clara felt a spark ignite in her chest, a flicker of possibility. Maybe she could push back against the storm of fear. Maybe she could summon that energy. She could feel it building, like pressure in a balloon, stretching to its limit. Suddenly, the world around her sharpened into focus. She could see every detail, from the sweat on the dancers' brows to the anxious glances exchanged among the crowd. It was now or never. With a deep breath, Clara concentrated on the energy, willing it to expand outward. "Clara!" Lara shouted, realization lighting her eyes. "Do it! Show him!" With an unexpected surge of power, Clara thrust her hands forward. A force rippled through the air, sending waves that parted the crowd like water. The music dimmed as the blast of energy crashed into Michael's men, knocking them off balance. Shock etched across their faces. Clara gasped, surprise flooding her senses. She didn't just feel fear anymore, she felt invincible. But she knew this was only the beginning. Catching a glimpse of Michael's furious expression ignited her determination. "Run, now!" Lara yelled, urgency lacing her tone. They dashed towards the exit, adrenaline painting their every motion. Clara dared a backward glance, and Michael's eyes were burning with rage. The storm within him unleashed. As they burst through the door, the night air hit Clara like a welcoming embrace. But even then, she felt Michael's presence looming, a shadow refusing to fade. They hadn't escaped just yet. Where to now? Clara panted, desperation creeping in again as they found themselves in a darkened alley. Up ahead, Lara pointed to a thick line of trees bordering a park. "We'll hide there and regroup." But as they darted toward the shelter of the trees, Clara's heart sank. The night had just begun, and the worst was yet to come. She had stirred something in Michael, and now she had to face the consequences. Could she keep this newfound strength, or would the darkness consume her for good? And what other secrets would this journey unveil? Clara and Lara sprinted toward the line of trees, their breath coming in ragged gasps. The adrenaline still surged through Clara's veins, igniting her senses and heightening her awareness of every sound, every rustle around them. Behind her, Michael's force loomed like a malevolent storm, relentless and voracious. Quick, behind there. Lara directed Clara toward the dense foliage. They ducked into the shadows, the leaves shielding them, but Clara felt the air grow damp and thick with dread. Holding on to the bark of a tree for support, she strained to listen. The sharp sound of footsteps crunched through the underbrush, and the panic tightened her chest. "Do you think he saw us?" Clara whispered, her voice barely a breath. Lara was breathing heavily, eyes darting to the path they had come from. "He knows we're close. We need to stay quiet." The seconds dragged on like hours, the stillness around them interrupted only by the distant sounds of the party filtering through the trees, laughter, music, and something more sinister shouts. "What if we just keep running?" Clara suggested, her mind racing through possibilities. Lara shook her head, her expression grim. "We can't. He has connections, and if he calls them before she could finish," a chilling laugh echoed from the entrance of the alley. Michael appeared, flanked by his loyal followers, and Clara's heart sank. He looked like a predator, exuding confidence and control, relishing in their fear. "Where are you hiding, Clara?" he called out, his voice smooth as silk yet dripping with menace. "You can't run forever. Lara, we have to go now." Clara urged, but Lara was frozen, eyes wide with indecision. "Don't panic," Lara whispered, but Clara felt the urge to bolt. The energy that had once coursed through her now flickered, overwhelmed by despair. Was this newfound strength not enough? "It's okay to be scared," Clara told herself, trying to recall the surge of power that had swept through her earlier. "You can do this. You need to do this." Michael took a step closer, and Clara felt the shadows reach out to him almost willingly, eager for the darkness he commanded. "Clara, my dear, I truly thought you'd bring me a bit more of a challenge," he taunted, a wicked grin spreading across his face. "I guess I underestimated you." Just then, a sudden noise erupted from somewhere to the left. A low growl. Clara caught Lara's momentary glance of surprise. But it wasn't Michael's men that they needed to worry about. Emerging from the shadows was a large dog, its eyes gleaming in the dark, its stance aggressive. "Go!" Clara shouted, but the animal didn't flinch. Instead, its growl became a bark, piercing the tense air. It turned from Michael to Clara and Lara, ready to defend. "Stay calm," Lara said, holding her hands out toward the dog, cautiously trying to signal non-aggression. "Hey there, it's okay." The tension in the air thickened as Clara remained frozen, the weight of their situation pressing down harder. Between the madness that was Michael and the fierce dog, she felt trapped. "Clara, help me." Lara's voice cut through her spiraling thoughts. "But I don't know how." Clara whimpered, panic creeping into her throat. "Feel it." Lara shouted, a command more than a plea. "You have to summon it. Go inward. Trust yourself." Suddenly, Clara felt it, the energy within her, the flicker igniting into flame. She squeezed her eyes shut, focusing deeper than ever before, summoning the raw power she had felt in the plaza. With each heartbeat, she channeled everything she held inside, pouring it into the space around her. A gust of wind stirred through the trees, swirling leaves into a vortex. The dog shifted, turning its attention fully to Clara. Would this be enough against the darkness? Michael's men reeled back, mouths agape at what was unfolding, a power palpable in the air. "What are you doing? This is absurd." Michael growled, stepping back, the confidence in his demeanor fading. Clara took a breath and opened her eyes, the world around her shimmering with her intensity. "Get back," she commanded, her voice steady and layered. With a force she hadn't known she possessed. But just as she felt the furthest reach of her newfound strength, a blinding flash illuminated the alley, and Clara felt the ground beneath her tremble. The moment paused, and within that fraction of a second, everything ripped open like a page turning in a book. The night held its breath, and then everything let loose. What happened next would either shatter their fragile escape or open a path to freedom. Would they conquer the chaos, or was something more sinister lying in wait? As the blinding flash subsided, darkness enveloped the alley, leaving Clara momentarily blinded and disoriented. She felt the ground quake again, but this time it reverberated through her bones like an electric shock. The world around her distorted, twisting and turning into unseen shapes. "Clara, hold my hand," Lara shouted, slicing through the chaos, her voice clear and urgent. Clara lunged for her friend, their fingers locking in a tight grip. The connection grounded her, anchoring her in this storm of fear. "Where are you?" Michael's voice echoed, laced with confusion now, a hint of fear creeping into his cocky bravado. This had changed everything. That growling dog, still protective but now poised, watched Michael warily as the shadows seemed to crawl away from him, unraveling like a frayed rope. Clara's heart raced, the energy she had summoned flickering dangerously close to collapse. "Focus," Lara urged. "Feel the connection, it's in you." Clara did feel it, pulsing deep within her, hot and demanding. She let out a breath she didn't know she was holding and closed her eyes, drawing on the sensation with every ounce of strength she had. Just then, a thunderous bark broke through the air as the dog lunged forward, earth-shaking, like a bulldozer on a mission. "What is this? A circus now?" Michael roared, backing away further, momentarily lost, a man suddenly stripped of his alpha demeanor. The dog's growls morphed into barks, fierce and escalating, each one igniting Clara's resolve. Lara began to chant something under her breath, words Clara couldn't hear but instinctively understood. They were a rallying cry, a push against the darkness. Clara felt herself connect more profoundly with Lara in that moment, an unspoken bond forging between them that fueled her determination. In a burst of courage, Clara opened her eyes. The world transformed. She could see the outlines of her surroundings clearer now, Michael's stunned followers frozen in shock, the party's vibrant light seeping through the branches, illuminating their horror-stricken faces. "Get back!" she commanded again, her voice commanding a power she never thought she could wield. Those in Michael's circle gawked, uncertainty swirling in their expressions like the motion of the leaves around her, and then she felt it like a rush of wind, the energy inside her exploded outward. It traveled in waves, sending ripples through the air, wrapping around Lara, the ground, and even the hesitant dog. The energy ignited the night, illuminating it with a pulse of pure light, rendering the onlookers momentarily blinded. "You don't know the power you're toying with," Michael screamed, his bravado cracking. Was he afraid? Clara's heart thumped wildly. Did he really think he could intimidate her any longer? But as Clara searched the wide-open expanse, the glowing force becoming palpable, she realized that the light wasn't just from her power, it was from something else, something approaching from the trees. A figure emerged, tall and proud, almost ethereal in appearance, with an air of authority that wrapped around them like a cloak. Clara's breath hitched. Was it a friend or foe? She couldn't tell, but the energy swelled in waves around the newcomer, pulsating violently like a living entity. "Who dares disturb my chosen?" The figure boomed, their voice like rolling thunder, silencing the chaos in one commanding word. The crowd shifted uneasily, unease rippling through them. Clara felt Lara's grip tighten on her hand. What was happening? Her heart hammered, preparing for whatever brutal revelation was about to unfold. "Is this yours, Michael?" The figure's gaze locked onto him, unyielding and fierce. "You have overstepped." Hope mingled with uncertainty in Clara's chest. Was help finally here, or was their nightmare just escalating? Just as a fragile sense of relief began to settle, shadows from the trees lurched forward, pooling around her, and Clara feared fate's cruel twist. The battle was only just beginning, and now, they had to face the unseen forces that laid in wait, poised to strike. How? Would it shape their fate? Would this figure bring salvation or doom? The air crackled with tension, and Clara knew they were on the brink of something monumental. Would they harness the storm ahead, or would it consume them all? Clara's heart raced as she stood frozen in the throbbing energy of the moment. The figure before her was wrapped in an otherworldly aura, a presence so intense it felt like gravity had shifted. "You have suffered long, Clara," the figure spoke, their voice resonating deep within her. The words surged with authority, igniting a spark of recognition, as if they were affirming something she had always known but never voiced. "Who are you?" Clara managed to stammer, her mind swimming in confusion and hope. From her peripheral vision, she saw Michael's facade of control wilting into uncertainty, his confidence eroding with every heartbeat. "I am the bearer of truths hidden and ancient," the figure declared, their gaze unwavering. "You possess gifts that extend beyond your current understanding. The time has come for you to embrace them, to awaken what has always lurked beneath." Around them, the air swirled with anticipation, tension crackling like static. Michael shifted restlessly, anger brewing within him as the figure continued to hold his gaze, unfazed. "You do not belong to him, Clara. You were never meant to be a pawn," they thundered, instilling a shift in the atmosphere, a weight lifting as truth cut through the air like a knife. The dog, having calmed slightly but still protective, stood steadfast at Clara's side, as if it understood the impending change. Clara glanced at Lara, who met her eyes, a mixture of fear and excitement swirling in her expression. "This is your moment, Clara. Don't back down now," Lara urged softly, her voice a steadying presence amid the rising tension. Clara felt it again, the pulsing energy, the connection to something far larger than her fears. With a deep breath, Clara found her voice. "What do I need to do?" The question spilled forth with a newfound resolve, slicing through the chaos that once held her captive. The figure straightened, their eyes gleaming as if they held the secrets of the universe. "You must confront the darkness that infiltrates the lives of those who seek to control you. Michael, in his desperation, is a puppet to forces far more insidious. You were meant to rise against it. Your power, your very essence, can strip away their grasp." Clara's fists tightened as she felt the call to bravely step into her own story. She glanced back at Michael, whose features were twisted with incredulity. "You think you have control, but you don't even understand the depths of what I can do," she declared, feeling the energy swirl around her, igniting her spirit. The spark within her transformed into an inferno, burning away the filters of fear that had clouded her mind. "No!" Michael shouted, the rage simmering just below his facade. "You'll regret this, Clara." He moved to step forward, but the figure raised a hand. "His words are empty," they said, authority radiating from them. "You hold the key, Clara. Embrace your connection to the unseen. Show him the power of your light." Realizing the gravity of this moment, Clara focused inward. She could feel the pulsing energy, a river of strength flowing through her veins, determined and relentless. With nothing holding her back, she called upon the gifts awakened within her. This wasn't just about walking again, this was about breaking the chains that bound her and everyone like her. "Together, we stand," she shouted, her voice resonating throughout the alleyway. "We will not be silenced. We will not be controlled." The wind shrieked in response, swirling around her like a cyclone of liberation, illuminating the shadows that clung tightly to Michael and his men. The darkness that once felt so suffocating began to retreat, unraveling under the brilliance of Clara's newfound strength. She reached toward the sky, feeling threads of energy knit together, blazing with vibrant hues of fierce red and brilliant blue. The dog barked, rallying beside her, a testament to their shared resolve, and then, all at once, Clara felt it, the overwhelming tide of connection, her powers intertwined with the world around her, harmonized to push forth against Michael's darkness. Screams of shock erupted from Michael and his men as they stumbled backward. The radiant light engulfed them, sending ripples of terror coursing through their ranks. "No! This can't be happening!" Michael yelled, his bravado shattered as he twisted to flee the powerful force that was Clara. With fear fading into courage, Clara took a step forward. Her path illuminated before her, she felt Lara's hand grip hers with a fierce determination that throbbed in the air. The figure beside them watched with pride, their presence a beacon guiding Clara to take charge of her destiny. Clara. They commanded, layering Clara's name in the energy of the moment. This is your liberation. Take your place. As the darkness finally receded into the bites of shadow lingering on the edges, Clara felt a surge of wild exhilaration knotting in her chest. She had risen against the night, igniting a spark not only for herself but for all those cast aside. The memories of anguish faded, replaced by a vibrant pulse that resonated through her bones. I choose to be free. Clara shouted, her voice resonating deep like a promise to herself and everyone listening. The remnants of Michael's control crumbled as he fled into the night, the last traces of his arrogance evaporating into the wind. The echoes of cheers and laughter from the party trailed in the distance, a reminder of what she left behind, but also what she could reclaim. Amidst the fading shadows, Clara faced Lara as the figure slowly faded into the night like an old painting, their task complete. You did it, Lara breathed, relief and joy mingling in her expression. Clara felt alive, no longer paralyzed in mind or spirit. She had opened the door to her potential, and with it, the realization that she wasn't just a survivor, she was a warrior. I'm ready for whatever comes next, Clara declared, standing tall against the dawn that broke on the horizon. Together, they turned toward the path ahead, ready to embrace the future that awaited. It would be uncertain, undoubtedly fraught with battles yet to be waged, but Clara knew that with her light, she could conquer the darkness. She smiled, heart soaring, inspired to tell the story of her strength, for it was only just beginning. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss out. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and get our amazing stories in front of more people. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about Clara and her journey. We want to hear you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible conclusion. Your support is everything. Let us keep this community thriving.